If you're buying your first home in Parker County, Wise County, or Tarrant County right now, there are 3 mistakes that trip up first-time home buyers more than anything else. And one of them can cost you. I'm Janelle Gold with Local Realty Fort Worth, and I drive these 3 counties daily. Here's what I know that most first-time home buyers don't. People ask me why I work 3 counties, Parker County, Wise County, and Tarrant County, instead of just picking one. The simple answer is buyers don't just shop one county, not around these parts. Somebody working in Fort Worth might want acreage, so they could look at Weatherford or Azle and not even realize that they crossed county lines. Or similarly, somebody might be priced out of Tarrant and is looking at Wise County or Parker County before they even realize, again, that they've crossed county lines. In fact, Azle actually is in both Parker and Tarrant County. The fact is, these 3 counties are spread out, and I'm in the truck a lot, but that's actually my advantage. I know the difference between what a $400,000 budget buys you in Aledo versus Springtown versus Rome, Texas, that is. And that gap is bigger than most people expect. If your agent only knows one zip code, you're the one who's going to pay for that gap. So let's talk about pitfalls. Pitfall number 1, and it's a big one. Touring homes before you've actually been pre-approved. Not pre-qualified. These words get used interchangeably all the time. But one of them means that you've talked to a lender and you told them what you make, but nothing has been verified yet. Here's the difference. Because agents throw these words around all the time and buyers don't always get a clear picture. Pre-qualification is a conversation. You tell a lender your income and they run a quick number. You get a letter. It takes about 15 minutes and it's based on what you told them, not what they verified. Here's what I tell every buyer. Talk to one of several lenders who have a track record of helping our clients come up with a roadmap. You want to do this before you fall in love with a home or the granite or quartz countertops. You want to do this before you fall in love with the property. And ask your lender directly, is this a pre-qual or a pre-approval? And don't be shy about asking. After all, it is your money and your timeline. And if you don't have a lender yet, I can connect you with one of several, but all of them whom I trust. But you can ask them yourself, is this a pre-qual or is this a pre-approval? Pitfall number 2 is falling for the house or the property and never really evaluating the drive or the neighborhood. This one's specific to these 3 counties that I drive every day because the farther you go out, the more land, the longer the road, the longer the commute. This is more important than the granite countertops or the quartz countertops or the walk-in pantry. So it's important to know what that drive is going to look like when you got to drive to work at 7 in the morning. Not what that drive looks like on a Saturday afternoon. It's important to know what that drive to the airport looks like on a Monday morning because you're a remote worker, but you have to fly places every once in a while. So take some time off during the week and drive that commute during traffic, okay? Because 6 months from now, that house will not have changed. But driving those extra minutes each way, that could cost you. I'll be straight with you. I'm not going to pretend I've memorized every single county road in Parker County, Wise County, and West Tarrant County. because the county roads and the farm roads are actually numbers. They're not names. And there are tons of them across these 3 counties. But what I can tell you is what I've actually seen with my own eyes driving these routes. Roads I've personally had to turn around on during high water crossings with the floodgates closed. That's real, lived knowledge, not a memorized list. And I'll always tell you the difference between I've driven this, here's what I've noticed, and I don't know, let's find out together. So before you write an offer, drive the route yourself at the time of day you'd actually be doing it. Ask further questions, by the way. Ask about well and septic in writing in these counties, not verbally. And ask what's around you. Go shopping, go look at the grocery store, drive around on a Saturday night, because quiet country living means something different depending on whether your neighbor raises cattle or runs a business out of their barn. Pitfall number 3, waiving the inspection because you think it makes for a stronger offer. I understand the instinct. In a competitive situation, buyers hear that a clean offer with no contingency wins, and inspection feels like the easiest one to give up. But here's what that actually means. You're giving up your only chance to find out what's wrong with the house before it's legally yours. There's a difference between waiving the option period and waiving the inspection itself. You can still get the house inspected and use that information to negotiate or walk away. That's the option period doing its job. A few $100s for an inspection is a small price to actually know what you're buying. Roof condition, foundation, water source, instead of finding out after closing. What you should almost never do is skip getting your eyes on the property at all. If you're in a multi-offer situation, there are smarter ways to compete than going in blind, like shortening your option period, being flexible on closing date, stronger earnest money. So let's talk about those instead of gambling on a house you haven't actually seen or a house for which you're willing to waive the inspection. Now here's what winning actually looks like, because I want you to see both sides. Before we ever tour a single house, we sit down and write out 2 lists. We write your must-haves and we write your nice-to-haves. And must-haves sound like this: 4 bedrooms, 2 bath. Nice-to-haves sound like this: country feel, a dedicated office, or maybe a 4th room. The list does something powerful. When a house doesn't fit, we both already know. No second guessing, no feelings or emotions attached, no wasted showings. When a house does fit, we move fast because we already have agreed, we already know what your priorities are, we know what your nice to haves look like. That's the difference a written list makes. It's not about being rigid. It's about knowing your own criteria well enough that you're not making a huge financial decision based on vibes or feelings alone. So what does working with me actually look like if you're buying a house in Parker, Wise, or Tarrant County? First, I'm not going to send you a generic Zillow search and call it a day. I build a real search around your must-haves and your nice-to-haves before we ever tour anything. The same way I just described, we build a list of your must-haves versus your nice-to-haves. Second, I'll be upfront with you. I'm not a 20-year veteran of these counties, and I'm not going to pretend to be. But what I am is a 26-year Texas resident, and I've lived Dallas to Tarrant to Parker County. So if you're coming from Dallas and heading west, come on, I've got you. I am out here constantly driving between showings, meeting sellers, seeing these properties in person, and I bring that with a background of running client relationships and processes for years. I've done that for years before I even became a licensed real estate agent. Third, and this is the result of 14 and a half years of working and selling software talking. I run this like a real workflow, not a guessing game. You'll always know what stage you're in, what's next, and why. No mystery with me, no radio silence during option period, and no surprises that we didn't see coming. That's the job. Not pretending to know everything, building the plan, doing the legwork, and protecting you through it. If you're thinking about buying your first home anywhere in Parker, Wise County, or Tarrant County, whether you're 6 months out or you're ready to tour this weekend, the best first step isn't looking at listings. I know how tempting that is, but here's how I actually start with buyers. First, I connect you with a few lenders so you understand exactly where you stand financially. Then we sit for a real buyer consultation. 30 to 45 minutes where we walk through the whole process from beginning to end. Your must-haves, your nice-to-haves, and the legal stuff. So drop me a comment or send me a message and let's get you started the right way before you fall in love with the wrong house. I'm Janelle Gold with Local Realty Fort Worth. See you out there.